You are what you eat. What we dress is as well a reflection of what we are, and if I may speak from my heart, I find nothing in the world as fascinating and beautiful as a piece on screen or on stage when the artists come together and make something which matters to them and then can reflect on audiences. On those notes, it is the magic of costumes and visual arts, which can say more than 1,000 words. And to continue with this beautiful afternoon, which I think we have had here today, I would like to ask and welcome Sylvía Lovetank here on stage.
Good afternoon. My name is Sylvía Lovetank. Lovetank is something I should think about, though. It's also very catchy. And I brought my laptop in case I would faint. You could maybe just come and read it for me. I'm used to being behind the camera, and at this point, the AD screams, "Final checks!" and we would come run in and fix the hair and makeup. So if we have any notes, please just feel free to tell me if I have something hanging off the back of my trousers or something. That would be nice to know. But yeah, I'm lucky enough, and so I'm a visual artist by education, and I'm lucky enough to be able to work and call myself a costume designer. I've always been drawn to art and fashion, but coming into this beautiful business came as a chance or fate. I'm gonna go with fate, because that sounds way much cooler. I come from a small town of 700 people on the other side of this beautiful island. And today I see that as a gift, because growing up as a free child, running around with no curfew, amazing landscape. Today at that time I could not get away fast enough, but today I see how lucky I was growing up there. When I was asked to do this talk, I started thinking back, which I never do, because I'm never present. I'm always not in the now, obviously. Well, actually, that's a lie, because when she asked me to do this talk, I first over-dramatized it and, got a heart attack and, started flushing and thought to myself, I'm never gonna do it, even though I always knew I was gonna do it. But so, here I am, and let's hope it's gonna go well. But then after all the drama, I started thinking back, and I remembered a lot of beautiful things forgotten, which suggest my trajectory towards designing started much earlier than I had realized. First, I thought about my grandma, who was like bling, bling, bling queen of the small town of 700 people. She had a walk-in closet, which was not a common thing. It was full of sparkling, beautiful items, and I just loved going in there and playing dress up. I remembered something that I completely forgot. A 6-year-old me sitting on a bed next to the walk-in closet with a stack of Post-it notes doing a fashion collection. Something I need to find and put into production, definitely. Then I remembered the 10-year-old Sylvia going to the local fabric store in Reyðarfjörður, and then asking the local seamstress, who was a 70-year-old woman at the time, to tailor-make me a dress, something that I sketched up, and it's like this fabric, and it should look like this and that, blah, 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 which she did. It was amazing, loved it. And after that, she made me a tracksuit, so everything hand-picked and designed by me. It's so weird, I'd completely forgotten about this. And both perfectly thought out and executed to perfection, and voila, I got to wear my own creation, my own design in Reyðarfjörður, strutting on the streets. I found that to be just magical, and to this day, I still do. I never thought about learning how to sew, though. I don't know why, but I can sew to save my life, and I have. But still, to this day, I leave that to the pros. Making clothing was still very normal back then. My mom would sew if there was a Christmas photo shoot or whatever. A lot of people were, sewing and making their own things, clothing-wise, because in these small towns you couldn't shop clothes to begin with. So I'm an only child, and my father is a fisherman, and so he was away at sea a lot of the time. So growing up, it was mostly me and my mom. And I remember spending evenings on end drawing and painting. That was kind of like my thing. I loved painting, and I could like forget about sleep and just paint. And that was like, today I realized that it feels very personal, and it's something that like was not influenced by anyone. I've been lucky enough to have strong, independent women around me since I can remember, and I still do. And that alone is very special. And today, I see how much impact that has had on me growing up and still does. Girl power, woohoo. I remembered teenage Sylvia making her own clothing from weird materials, and a 16-year-old Sylvia who spent 2 months on a freezing trawler to impress her father, the fisherman, obviously, but also to try to become the boy my parents never had. But last but not least, to earn all the money to move to Reykjavik. But first, before I did that, I was going to go shopping in London. I spent 3 weeks on Oxford Street, I kid you not, and I spent every penny made that summer, sadly. I lived in Reykjavik for 6 years. I dropped out of college really early on, and I started working in fashion. And that was me done. Selling clothes on the high street, Laugavegur, living the dream. I mean, I had arrived. I was 18, but no, that got old very quickly. Even though, like, I got promoted to a buyer, and I got to travel and buy clothes for a living. I was like, oh my God, but no, yeah, that was like a few years. Then that was over. I decided to go to university, and I finished college like quite quickly while bartending and scrubbing floors. I applied to 3 fine art programs in the Netherlands, and as a backup, I applied to the Fashion Academy in Iceland. As a backup, just in case they wouldn't let me in Holland. I did not get into the fashion program in Iceland, but I got into 2 in Holland, so there was my fate written in the stars, banished from Iceland. Literally, Holland, here I came. So I moved to Rotterdam, and I studied fine arts there in the Willem de Kooning Academy for 4 years. There I made like amazing amount of friends, talented, that are still inspiring to me to this day, obviously. But for like a girl moving from, like coming from originally a town of 700, moving to a city that populated then over 500,000 people, was just like mind-blowing. Just to meet so many people from all over the world. And I felt, when I moved over there, like I felt free again, like back home as a kid. No cool kids from Reykjavik judging Amy and competing, and I was just free and could just be myself, and kind of found myself in Holland, guys, really. I graduated uni in 2007, and by then I was selling paintings by the order. Again, living the dream. Everyone told me, you will never earn a dime of being a fine artist. Like, you might see a penny like after you're dead, as all the others. So I was like, I showed them. Maybe not, but in school, a side note, in school, before finishing uni, I made this big, there was a workshop, and I made a big charcoal drawing of a realistic tank. And it was so scary, and did not make me feel good to look at it. So I made another one that was pink and fabulous with a heart camouflage, and I called it Lovetank. Niels, Lovetank. And that's how that nickname came about, and why I named my company that name. And I still love it. Good name. Although your suggestion was also amazing. After graduation, I moved to London. And I started an online fashion shop with my best woman in life, Heba, which was not really a big thing at that time, online shopping that is. But yeah, that got old, but today I see I missed that train. I maybe should have stayed over a little bit longer. But I got pregnant, moved to Iceland, back to Reykjavik, got a job as a preschool, rented a studio, and continued painting. One fine day, in 2012, I got a call from a colleague who was looking for an artist to assist a costume breakdown artist on the HBO Game of Thrones series, number 3, and they were then filming in Iceland. The timing was horrible for me. Like, the preschool gang was gonna go an all-inclusive paid trip to Boston shopping. And I was like, no. I spoke to my mom and she was like, no, you have to do that. I hadn't even heard of Game of Thrones at the time. And my mom was like, no, I've heard about the show. I think it's amazing. You should definitely do it. And I was like, oh, God. Being the only child and, you know, the good little daughter, obviously, did what my mom told me. And that job literally, like, changed my life forever. It's so funny to think about it. I worked with the most amazing woman on that job. Her name is Nina Ayers, and she taught me how to do costume effects. That in this case was painting wildling costumes, for those who know that series. And we did that every day for 12 hours a day for 3 weeks. And then I was like completely in love. Like for me, combining painting and costume made like the perfect sense. I met so many interesting people on that job, doing all kinds of different jobs that I had no idea even existed. From a truck driver to a DIT to like all the others. It's like, you know, all of a sudden I had like a new best 70-year-old friend who was a truck driver, and it was so inspiring and great. What inspired me to become who I am today was literally that magical job. This woman, Nina, was kind enough to offer me and take a chance on me and offered me to join her for filming season 4 over in Belfast. I rented out my flat in Reykjavík, paid my way to move over there for a minimum wage. We worked 12-hour days, 5 days a week, slaving away in the studio, making an army after an army after an army for 7 months. That roughly, I calculated it, that's roughly around 1,700 hours of costume breakdown, and that was the best school ever. I'll always remember coming home, like, I literally could not feel my hands, you know, I was just like trying to eat dinner, and, you know, we just like woke up with a smile the next day at 5 and did it all over again. We worked in, it's called the Titanic Studios in Belfast. And I remember, my arms, done that. No, but in Belfast I learned all the tricks of the trade, because like I was a complete newbie, I knew nothing. And there I got to meet my only superhero in life, Michelle Clapton, who is the designer of Game of Thrones. Amazing woman, and I would see her walk around the studio with her magic wand, and like she had all types of different departments. There was a huge sewing room, a huge breakdown room, armory room, jewelry rooms, hat makers, like everything, like whatever you could imagine, it was there. And she would just like have her sketches, and like, oh no, I'm a little more like this and that, and just like magic happened in front of our eyes. It was so amazing. In Iceland, the ladder to climb the ladder is way smaller, obviously, and maybe why I got to like grow up faster in the industry and get more responsibility compared to our colleagues elsewhere who are still like slaving away on a floor somewhere, and it's very different. So I think we're in Iceland very fortunate to be able to grow up so fast. But when I got the opportunity to design, I knew it was a mixture of 1,000 little things. I needed to be able to communicate with people, visualize my ideas, and explain to the makers, what we're trying to achieve, just like when I was 6. Needless to say, I am not at Michelle's level today, but I'm sure and hope to be one day, because I really, really want to. Filmmaking for me can be a super stressful job. Someone said to me the other day, like, if it's so stressful, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. And I disagree, because I fucking love it, even though it stresses me out a lot. And I can like never just like, whenever I'm on a job, I just like, it just completely consumes me. It's the only thing I think about. And I like neglect everyone and everything, and which is something I should maybe work on. And but I don't know, yeah. Yeah, it's hard to compartmentalize, you know, just like to leave, unwrap, just leave everything there and come home and be like, oh, hey, family. Like I'm working on it. I'm gonna be better with that. But like to create like to be a costume designer and to create a costume, there's so many things you have to think about. Like, and it's such a big dialogue. You have the art. It's like, I mean, Lilja stole my speech a little bit earlier, but you know, I was very happy to be speaking late. But now, you know, a lot of things have been said. But as they've all pointed out, you know, it's a big dialogue between all the departments, and obviously no film crew is stronger than its weakest link, and that's like so true. And I think you know, sometimes you have a dick director, or you know, like a diva actress, or you know, there's so many things that you have to like. I mean, Skúli, for example, sound, he doesn't love me all the time because I love plastic, noisy materials, and it's a balance, you know, everyone needs to come together and find a good solution that works for everyone. Not only costume, sadly. But yeah, like telling a story in a costume, like costume breakdown is so important there. You know, you can tell a story completely just with costume breakdown. And like in Belfast, I learned everything between how to spray a shade into a beautiful like silk dress, to making like massive dirt effects, like puncture wounds with blood all over, snow effects, la la la. So like that's something that is like really dear to me, and something like this off the rack from Sarah is like a no-no at all times. I heard an alarm bell go off over there. Yeah, on done that. Lilja with the cards. Sorry. Yeah, but getting to play with all these elements and seeing them come to life on a set is such a magical experience. And on every job, I'm just literally in awe with what every department does, because everyone is like I think it's not very common to work in a big firm where everyone is just so talented. Like everyone has something amazing to offer, and it's just like it's such a. I'd say we're so lucky to be able to work with such many amazing people. And yeah, today I was going to say I have a loving partner who is a filmmaker. And we met on set, obviously, because a lot of filmmakers don't have a big personal life. And I was thinking about like how whenever a job takes me away from home, like, you know, compared to my father, the fisherman, who was like away a lot, which is very common for a man, obviously. But whenever a woman leaves the home, everyone's like, oh my God, like, and where are the children, you know, and like, so, you know, classic and old and boring. Yeah, but with that, you know, obviously, if you have a family, you have to have a good support system, and we're lucky enough to have that. What makes me push forward when forward gets hard, Carolina, is the stress. For some reason, I love stress and panic, and the people, obviously. The end result, to see the magic on the silver screen, is obviously amazing, apart from the continuity errors we share, which is never our fault, obviously. And also just like getting reactions from people, and that happens a lot. People come to you and, you know, tell you your thoughts, good or bad, and if it sparks something with someone, it's magical. And that really drives me. And if I, to wrap it up, was gonna give advice to someone who is interested in the world of costume, I would say, I think first and foremost, fuck imposter syndrome. I've dealt with that like imposter syndrome on every job, sometimes 20 times a day, and that is a complete waste of time. Because we're all unique, obviously, and we all have something to bring to the table, and we all have a story to tell. And that's me done. Thank you.